前年有个哈佛高年级的本科生呢，本身也是学天文的，然后他了解到我在批驳 UFO 相关的伪科学的过程中做的一些工作。所以他就很感兴趣，希望来采访我，所以我们就进行了一场线上对谈。
Did the world wake up on the wrong side of bed? Sleepy-eyed with a red hot pounding head. I'm surprised that we still managed to circle the sun.
So I looked you up and I was trying to find people. So I've talked to a lot of people here in the US that have spoken about UFOs and aliens. And, one of my projects at Harvard is dealing with that primarily. That's what I do on a day-to-day basis. And so in talking to a lot of those people, frankly, I hear a lot of garbage. And I think a lot of those people are unethical as well. And I have a lot of friends that are from China that still live there. And they tend to be very different personality types. And so they told me, try to find some researchers down there to get a different perspective so you can triangulate things. And so doing that research, I came across you and I thought, wow, this is an incredible individual if I could get him on. So that was the sort of, the trajectory I went down.
Before you lose your sense of self, my little sister doesn't look at the page.
While you were still a PhD student, you made the bold decision of sort of publicly exposing cult-themed sort of social media accounts promoting alien enlightenment, is my understanding. And one of the most prominent of those was the Galactic Radio Station. And so, these are some of the people that were calling sort of alien contact, some spiritual figures like Buddha was making contact with them. That's one would view that as sort of a 180 from somebody who's, really focused dealing with technical issues. What drove you to sort of wanting to deal with that?
Because basically I'm writing everything about astronomy. So I think looking for the aliens is the job of astronomers, especially the job of radio astronomers. So if someone else claim they have found aliens, it need to be certified by astronomers like us. So but actually we all know that's all lies, and they want to do something with their own purpose. The purpose may be money, maybe power, maybe something else. Maybe they just have something wrong with their mind, maybe. So any possibility is
right.
Doom and gloom, never what we've achieved, and I don't blame her, but every night at 10:25.
And so you've also mentioned that the probability of alien contact is infinitesimally small, which is absolutely true. Why do you think then, outside of the sort of religious issues, perhaps even the sort of intellectual and intelligence issues, why people still fall for this exploitation? Yeah, despite people like you being out there, despite this being debunked forever, despite there being no evidence whatsoever of anything of that sort.
Yeah, but
do you think there's a sort of a psychological aspect to us as people that causes this?
Although we have been talking about this for forever and educating people as much as we can, but overall speaking, the society, whether it's in the West or in China, the general public, they are not very well educated in science, I think. So especially when these issues actually you need to have very good background to think about this problem and to recognize what is true and what is illusion. So that is a very high demand to the knowledge of the public. So I think it's really very hard to deliver what we want to deliver. And also, you are right. People have the tendency to believe in such things because they have sometimes a very, we can say it's a beautiful childish dream or something. So they have the good hope of this thing being true, and that's not very evil. That's natural. But when that is not based on science, they always make mistakes. That is also true. Yeah.
Right. I think one of the things that I find, partly disheartening, is I think a lot of the reason that people tend to fall for this, or sort of get sucked up by it, is, as you mentioned, where you have high credibility individuals who they perceive to have the bona fides, then helping propagate this narrative, I think is perhaps the only reason why a lot of people tend to get sucked into it. How would you advise somebody to channel that curiosity when they're not an expert like you are?
The thing that I do most is to explain to people what the UFO footage, UFO images they have got in their phone or on the internet. By doing so, we can explain that it is not something from the alien. It is something that we can explain. It is just a plane or a balloon or a kite or maybe a ghost image in your camera lens, something like that. So I think that can explain maybe 90% of all the questions. But there are something that cannot be explained so easily. That they have a lot of different theories, and
they assume maybe you're part of the secrecy or something. There's always a way to rationalize in your mind once you become a cult follower that anyone persuading you otherwise is somewhat a bad actor.
One example, the little girl in Qinghai province, she was in the middle school and she believed in these things, and then he got I don't know how to say that in English, 精神分裂. So that's a kind of mind disease.
That's
so
psychotic breakdown.
Yeah, like that. After she contact with me and I introduced some other experts to her, so she gradually got her mind right. She stopped believing those things, but she still suffers from the trauma. She had to stop studying and stay at home for several years to get back on track. So I think that is not the only example. That's if we find one example, maybe there are 1,000 or 10,000 such kids at least have their mind polluted by these crazy theories. So I think I have the duty to tell people the truth.
Yeah, I have profound and deep respect for that. I think one of the things sort of in the Western side of things is you have cults, and I think you sort of talked about them in the past too, like Heaven's Gate and realism, and so these things can cause just as much danger. And I find it fascinating that your approach to it was sort of at an individual level, sort of looking at how it could impact kids and younger people. In many ways also speaks to your degree of empathy for these things. We now live in sort of the digital age, which is very different from that age, where information sort of self-perpetuates much faster. Do you think that there's sort of, and I think partly your work and the way you sort of communicate science is helpful in sort of helping people understand what's signal versus what's noise, to put it mildly. And so do you think that it's the problem is just exacerbated now that we're in a digital age where it's really difficult to understand what's truth and what's not?
Do you mean in the digital age, people have very wide access to different information sources, so it's more easy for to
right. So it's easier because people have more access.
Yeah.
It's also easier because the cost of distribution is much lower. Mm-hmm. So Joe Schmo from some village can also share random information.
That's a very nice point. That's also my thought, because everyone can now publish something on Facebook or TikTok. So the production of contents the threshold is coming down, so everyone has the right or ability to produce such things. People with similar minds, they will attract each other. So if someone believes in such cult theories, they will find other people who believe the similar things, and they will form a small circle that will resonate with each other. That is one feature of this internet dynamic.
Don't tell me this goes on forever. The weather ain't forever.
So in sort of pivoting, again, like mentioned, you have sort of deep technical expertise in something I'm very passionate about, which is astrophysics. But you also now have become a science communicator. And so, this isn't, a very common thing at all. I think a lot of people who are doing PhDs would be very impressed, but also amazed that one could do two of these things at the same time and then continue to build somewhat of a good career in science communication. Do you believe that that's the future of becoming a scientist, is the sort of dual path of both pursuing a technical academic degree and also communicating the information that you learn?
I think it's a personal choice or something about personality. Some people just want to focus on research. It's completely right to do that. But someone else like me, we want to communicate with the public, and we feel we have the duty to do that. That's also a personal choice, and no problem. I think we do not require everyone in the science community to do the communication to the public, but I think we should encourage the scientists to do so.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think I think it's paramount, especially if, in many ways I found that when you teach knowledge that you've learned, you tend to sort of embed it in your mind better. Yeah. I understand that your sort of commitment is to document space exploration and sort of human endeavors in space in general. Where do you see yourself in 20 to 30 years? Do you see yourself as an even bigger science communicator? Do you see yourself going back into research and academia, or sort of living in between both?
I think I will do both. Yeah, because doing science communication forever is not a very good choice, because if you are always exporting knowledge but not getting knowledge, then one day you have nothing else to say. So everything is what I have already said. So I will lose the passion of sharing my knowledge. So I need to learn new knowledge and then at the same time outputting what I have just learned. So that is a secret of keeping passionate about science communication. So I need to do some real science research to put myself at the frontier of science or the scientific industry. That is a way to keep my own passion on science communication.
Right, and then I find that for people like yourself, and hopefully for me as I continue to do my PhD, is that you find that, if you're fundamentally curious about these things, it's really never as fulfilling to just do communication and not getting down in the weeds. And so I completely understand that.
Only watch it for the weather, then at least that's all for some. Don't tell me this goes on forever.
So how do you personally deal with the issue of, I'm open to new information, I am okay with understanding that some things remain unknown, and there's a possibility that those things could be true, versus, there are some things that need to be verified and go through the scientific process.
Yeah.
How do you maintain that balance?
Yeah. We have a gold rule for that. Great claims need great evidence. Yes.
Yeah.
So we need to verify every extraordinary claims.
So this is somewhat more of a personal question as we reach the end. So you grew up in a very different background, I think, to a lot of people here, and you've had a very interesting sort of life path. What are some of the principles and sort of values that you would want to model and you model for yourself that you think young people growing up today would be better off having?
We should honor truth over some personal feelings or some other ideologies.
That's awesome. I'd be happy to. It's been great connecting. I hope we can connect in the future.
Yeah.
I think it's past midnight there. I'm sorry to have kept you up at night.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.